Hi, I'm Davina Shemaya, and just like you, I am recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and narcissistic abuse. And today I want to talk to you about, um, not even sure what I'm going to call this video yet. Um, yeah, C-PTSD is basically an attachment disorder. It's your parents were not able to give you that secure attachment. They weren't emotionally available. So there was no sense of safety, security, no sense of your needs being met, um, no sense of having your own boundaries. And also this causes us to become codependent and to always, when things are um, perhaps chaotic on the outside, or we're being abandoned by our parents. They're not responding to us. Things can feel very very chaotic, and we can start to look outside ourselves um, for our self-worth, and we start to meet other people's needs. We become like these caretakers, caretaking our parents, um, and making sure that they're not upset, and trying to make them happy, and trying everything we can to get that connection and that love and that attention that we're craving. And yeah, I'm trying to know where I'm going with this. Yeah, so without that, and without feeling like our needs are being met, we lose our sense of self. We have no sort of internal reference for how we're feeling about things, even our thoughts or our values. We totally lose ourselves in this process when we have a narcissistic parent who really is not capable of caring about our needs, is really not capable of caring about our inner experiences and our feelings. And often they don't even care about, they may care very little even about kind of your preferences, or they don't want to know what you think about things. They just want a really, like a clone, they just want to like project everything that they think you should be. And also projecting all of their shame and their fear onto you, or their insecurities. And so, yeah, we're left with really like no self. There's no mirroring happening. And so we don't know who am I, right? And our self worth becomes dependent on other people, and how, yeah, so that leads to the fear of abandonment, because we become so dependent um, on other people to fill our own self-worth, and to feel needed, or to feel to have that approval. And yeah, it's funny, I was even just texting this woman that I had met, and I realized it was so subtle, but I had started, like, we left voice messages to each other, and I noticed that I would take the same pacing as her, and because she spoke a little slowly, then I spoke a little slowly with breaks in between. And she used this certain phrase and I used the same phrase. And I started noticing these very little subtle things, as how I started to even just in that very simple, like just a text and just a voice message, I started changing myself in hopes that she's going to like me. Um, it was really like, so, um, I don't know, eye-opening, but humbling. Like this pattern of codependency is very, very deeply conditioned. And so in order to come out of this codependency, boundaries is probably the number one thing that we need to do, is know our boundaries and be able to set them and be able to hold them. And I notice that I'm struggling with that right now, because when I'm in the flashback, which is probably right now, I notice myself start to slip, and I think, well, maybe I guess I'll just have to take that job, even though it doesn't pay as much as I want. And well, I guess, that the commute is a bit longer than I wanted, but maybe I guess I just have to settle for that. And so our thinking becomes very just muddled, and like, yeah, even after I've been setting, I've really only been setting real boundaries for the last 3 years. So it's important to be really gentle with yourself with this, because this is a skill, we should have learned long ago, when we were 5 and 10 and 15. My journey with boundaries began with really just asking requests. And if that's where you are, that's okay. I mean, I started asking my husband I'd start asking him for things like, could you do this? And I would like this. Could you please do such and such for me? Because this is important for me. And when he wouldn't do it, I was just like baffled and stunned and confused and frustrated. And I didn't understand why like, I thought, okay, he loves me, so he's going to do what I ask him to do. Why wouldn't he? These seemed like fairly simple things. I wasn't asking for the moon, just they seemed pretty reasonable. And I later on, started realizing that, oh, he's incapable of doing these things. And then of course I left him. And then since then, it's been this journey of really emotional sobriety, I think, is what I was kind of thinking about this morning. I woke up in quite a peaceful state. I had turned down a job yesterday that, wasn't going to meet my needs. I'm like, no, I can't do that job. It's like, it's too far. It's not enough money. I didn't really feel connected with the child. It just didn't really feel right for me. And there's nothing wrong with those people. I really liked them, but something was, it was just not meeting my needs. And we start going, well, what about my needs? When we start asking that question, like, wait a minute, I'm taking care of everybody else's needs. What about my needs? What about my needs for financial security and connection and, having spaciousness in my life so that I can do other things besides just working. And, so when we start to identify our needs and our values, then our boundaries start to come from a deeper place. And we start realizing that, oh, I value, I value deep connections. I value deep, meaningful connections, or I value clear communication. I value simplicity. I value empathy and compassion. And I value, mindfulness and sensitivity. And so when we start to, I value respect and humility. And so when we start to then live our lives from this place of, these are my values, and I have needs. It's hard to identify our needs because we were never taught about how to identify our own needs. We're always taking care of our narcissistic parents. And so, it's so important to, and values and needs are often very, very connected. So, so we can start to realize, like, oh, this is this, I value this, and I need this in my life. I need this to flourish. I'm not just like, a need is a need. It's not a request. And so those are also, it's a good differentiation. Like, you have requests that are like, okay, these are things that are nice to have, but then you also have like requirements. Requirements are needs that it's a requirement. Well, like when you have a job requirement, something that you must have. It's not an option. And so when we start identifying those and sticking by them, which is so difficult in the beginning, it's still so difficult for me, like just to like hold steadfast as I look for this job, my new whatever I'm doing, I don't even know. But just hold fast to what I want and what I need. And yeah, really what I need, in order to flourish in this world. And yeah, this morning I was in that flashback, that kind of abandonment flashback, and feels very, sometimes I can't even believe I'm really in a flashback, but I'm like, this is not me. This is not me feeling energized and motivated and um good about myself and connected and inspired or any of that. I'm just I'm feeling, it almost feels like this kind of cloud or bubble is around me, and I feel very like, feels dark. um and even like the things kind of mimic it, like I had my blinds closed, like it just felt dark and quiet and very, just this real sense of like disconnect, like separation and emptiness, sadness. I was trying to connect, just again, connect with my inner child. And she showed me like a face, I think a face that I just kind of came up into my mind. It was like this just sad face. And yeah, so yeah, where was I going? Just like, the flashback. And in that flashback, I was thinking to myself, and what my inner child must have been thinking was, how am I going to survive in this world? How am I going to survive in this world? And yeah, I mean, she must have had that thought in her head because she had no real parents taking care of her, her emotional and more, deeper needs. Not like, of course, my parents met my basic physical needs and material needs. That was all kind of taken care of, which was great. They did something. They did the legal things, like you have to make sure your child goes to school and buy them clothes and have food on the table for them. But there was really, they really weren't interested in knowing me or seeing me as a person, as a separate individual. And I'm trying to figure out where I'm going with this. Yeah, so yeah, like, yeah, being around, like growing up with narcissistic parents is, um yeah, they basically, yeah, like suck out your soul, your identity. And so again, like, yeah, setting boundaries is really important, and it's a journey to figure out what your values are. And what you can do is really what you notice that you don't like. And you start noticing what you don't like. I don't like that. I don't like when he does that. I don't like that behavior. I don't like when someone talks like that, or I don't like these kind of situations. And then out of that and out of your triggers, you'll start to figure out what you do want and what you do value. And yeah, it is a journey. And yeah, I guess I was on the thread of just surviving in this world. And you deserve to flourish in this world, and you can flourish in this world. And yeah, just notice when you maybe slip a little bit and you realize that, oh, I'm allowing this person to cross my boundary, or I'm allowing this job to cross my boundaries. And start to notice where this feels kind of like icky or not good, where you start to feel that shame. And yeah, shame can often be also, a sign that, yeah, needs are not being met. And so yeah, that it's about rebuilding our lives and building a life where we are flourishing, where we come out of like just survival mode, and we begin to to flourish, because you are a wonderful person with so much to offer, so much to offer. Yeah, you're sensitive and beautiful and highly aware, and yeah, you have a lot to give, and you've already made such a difference in the world just by being you. Just your presence and your essence is making a difference in this world today. So yeah, yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you today. And I am Davina Shamaya at Boldness Blooming, and I'm wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. Thanks for watching.